The three heavens of the Bible. Since time immemorial, mankind has looked to the sky with wonder and reverence. In the Bible, the existence of three heavens is described, each with a distinct meaning and purpose in the divine plan. Throughout the centuries, prophets, apostles, and sages have reflected on these heavenly spheres, leaving testimonies in the scriptures. To understand the depth of the three heavens, it is necessary to explore the key moments in biblical history when they were mentioned or suggested. The first heaven, the visible realm. The first heaven is the closest to humanity. It refers to the Earth's atmosphere, the space where birds fly and where clouds carry rain. Its clearest mention in the Bible is found in Genesis, when creation is described. And God said, "Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." And God made the expanse, and divided the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that were above the expanse. And God called the expanse heaven. Genesis 1 verses 6 to 8. In this passage, the expanse is the physical sky, the one that men can see and touch in some way. Throughout the Old Testament, this sky is described as the place of weather phenomena. Great flood, approximately 2300 BC. God opened the floodgates of heaven, Genesis 7 verse 11, allowing rain to fall for 40 days and 40 nights. This mention reinforces the idea that the first heaven is the realm where weather events occur. Elijah's prayer and rain, approximately 850 BC. In the first book of Kings, the prophet Elijah prays for God to send rain after years of drought. God's response is manifested in the first heaven when a small cloud appears and soon becomes a great storm. First book of Kings 18:44. This heaven is the most immediate for humanity and represents the connection between the earth and the celestial heaven, since it is where God has shown visible signs throughout history. The second heaven, the kingdom of the stars and the spiritual. Beyond the first heaven is the second heaven, the kingdom of the stars, the sun, the moon, and the planets. This heaven is mentioned in several passages as the space where God placed the celestial lights to illuminate the earth and mark the times. And God said, "Let there be lights in the expanse of the heaven to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs for seasons, for days, and for years." Genesis 1:14. Key events that highlight the importance of the second heaven include the covenant with Abraham, approximately year 2000 BC. God promises Abraham that his descendants will be as numerous as the stars in the sky. Genesis 15:5. This reference to the second heaven links it to God's sovereignty over time and his absolute control over human history. The Star of Bethlehem, year 1 AD. When Jesus was born in Bethlehem, a star guided the wise men from the east to his location. Matthew 2:2. This event shows how the second heaven can also be used by God to announce divine events. The spiritual struggle in the heavens. In the book of Daniel, the prophet speaks of a battle between the angels of God and the principalities of evil in the heavens. Daniel 10:13. This passage suggests that the second heaven is not only a physical place, but also a realm where spiritual wars are fought. The second heaven is the domain of the heavenly bodies, but it is also the arena of conflicting spiritual forces. The Bible makes it clear that there are angels and demons in this realm, making it a place of both wonder and battle. Up to this point, we have explored the first two heavens according to the Bible. The first is the physical, atmospheric heaven. The second is the star space and the realm where spiritual battles occur. However, there is a third heaven, one that is beyond human reach and that only a select few have been able to see. In the next part, we will explore this third heaven and its impact on biblical history and the future of humanity. The three heavens of the Bible, complete history, page 2 of 2. In the first part, we explored the first heaven, the Earth's atmosphere where weather phenomena and divine signs occur, and the second heaven, the star space where God placed the stars and where spiritual battles also occur. Now we come to the most mysterious and sacred of all, the third heaven, the place of God's presence. The third heaven, the abode of God. The third heaven is described in the Bible as the place where God dwells, a heavenly realm inaccessible to living human beings, except in exceptional cases where God has permitted visions or spiritual transportations. The clearest reference to this heaven is found in the words of the Apostle Paul. "I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven. Whether in the body or out of the body I do not know, God knows. And I know that this man was caught up to paradise and heard inexpressible things, which it is not lawful for man to utter. Second letter to the Corinthians 12:2-4. Paul refers to himself in the third person, describing a unique experience in which he was taken to the third heaven, a place so sacred that human words could not describe it. This testimony reinforces the idea that the third heaven is a completely spiritual domain, where the glory of God is absolute. Some key events in the Bible give us clues about this sacred place. The Garden of Eden and Paradise Lost, approximately 4000 BC. In Genesis, the Garden of Eden is mentioned as a place where God walked and had direct communion with Adam and Eve, Genesis 3 verse 8. Many theologians believe that Eden was not just an earthly garden, but a manifestation of the heavenly paradise. After the fall of man, God blocked access to the tree of life, Genesis 3 verse 24, suggesting that Eden was moved or hidden in the third heaven. The prophet Isaiah and his vision of God, approximately 700 BC. Isaiah had one of the most striking visions of the third heaven. I saw the Lord sitting on a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above him were seraphim, and they cried to one another, saying, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. Isaiah 6:1-3. This passage describes the throne of God surrounded by angelic beings. It is one of the few direct descriptions of the third heaven, showing its absolute holiness. The rapture of Enoch and Elijah, approximately 3000 BC and 850 BC, respectively. Enoch and Elijah were two men who did not see death, but were taken directly to heaven. So Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Genesis 5:24. Elijah, and it came to pass, as they went on and talked, that, behold, a chariot of fire and horses of fire parted the two of them, and Elijah went up into heaven by a whirlwind. Second Book of Kings 2:11. Although the Bible does not specify whether they were taken to the third heaven or an intermediate state, their ascension suggests a special relationship with God, possibly being welcomed into his presence. Jesus and the promise of paradise, AD 33. When Jesus was on the cross, he made a promise to the repentant thief. Assuredly, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. Luke 23:43. This paradise is associated with the third heaven, meaning that those who are redeemed by God have access to this heavenly realm upon their death. The New Jerusalem, heaven at the end of time. The final and most glorious event related to the third heaven is John's vision in Revelation. I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Revelation 21:2. Here is described the descent of the heavenly city to meet redeemed humanity. This confirms that the third heaven is the final destination of believers, and that in the future God will establish his dwelling place with men. Conclusion: the final destination of the three heavens. Throughout biblical history, the three heavens have played a key role in the divine plan. 1. The first heaven, the earth's atmosphere, where God has shown signs and miracles throughout time. Keycap 2. The second heaven, the realm of the stars and the spiritual battle between heavenly forces. Keycap 3. The third heaven, God's dwelling place, paradise, and the final destination of believers. The Bible shows us that, although we now see the heavens with human limitations, there will come a day when those who have followed God will experience the glory of the third heaven and the fullness of his presence. What do you think about the existence of the three heavens? Leave us your comment and share this video with more people who want to learn about this fascinating topic.